Hey guys, I'm Amanda Morrissey, and welcome back to another episode of Too Pretty to Be Unhappy. Welcome back, guys. Wow, another episode. I'm so happy that you guys are here. Today, I have one of my very best friends, Jocelyn Blondell. I am sure that throughout the episodes, you have heard me talk about my very best friends. I am so lucky to be surrounded by such incredible women that I call my best friends. And Jocelyn and I have been friends since middle school.
Yeah.
Yeah, since our dance days.
I was in 6th grade and you were in 7th.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a long friendship.
That's like right in the beginning.
That's a very
of
long
that middle
friendship.
school.
Yeah. So we had Jocelyn on for the Galentine's episode and Valentine's episode. That was
Yep.
really fun.
Mhm.
We talked about the importance of female friendships. So
Yes.
if you have not watched it, make sure you do. It's a really good one. So I'm so happy to have Jocelyn on. So thanks so much for coming out,
Thanks
bestie.
for having me.
I'm so excited.
Me too.
So Jocelyn has had quite the journey over the last 4 years.
Yeah.
It was the pandemic, 2020.
Sure.
And Jocelyn met the man that she now calls her husband.
Yeah.
She became a wife. She
Mhm.
became a stepmom.
Yeah.
And she started her fertility journey.
Yeah.
So a lot of big things have happened for Jocelyn over the last 4 years. And so that's why I wanted to have her on the show to talk about that and to shed light on especially two of the biggest things. Number one, being a bonus mom, being a stepmom,
Mm-hmm.
and also your fertility journey.
Yeah.
Because I do know that a lot of women are going through what you're going through.
Yeah.
So I would love for us to kind of talk about that a little
Sure.
bit. So let's start at the beginning.
Cool.
Okay. It's 2020.
Yeah.
And Justin slides in your
Into
Facebook
my
DMs.
DM.
Facebook, guys. Facebook. Facebook is not dead. Okay? Because these two.
It really isn't. He still
Love
doesn't
was
use.
blooming.
He still doesn't use Instagram. It's like
Yeah.
solely Facebook.
This love
for him.
bloomed on the Facebook.
Yeah. So it was right after my birthday.
Yeah,
February of 2020.
Yep.
So right before the pandemic
Right.
hit.
Yep. For the world shut down.
And, Yep. I posted a story, and we laugh about this literally every single year because obviously it comes up on my memories. My mom was my Valentine, February of 2020.
Cute.
Right? Because I was not, I mean, I guess I could still, I was newly single in the sense that, like,
Yeah.
me and my ex broke up in December, and it's now February.
Yep.
And I'm living with my mom.
Yep.
I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing with
Yeah.
my life. And we went to TGI Fridays.
Cute. We love that.
Me and my mom. And basically the story was that I ended up posting on my Facebook was like that I had worked out that night before we went to dinner. And we went to dinner and I had this like heaping bowl of like shrimp pasta. And it was delicious.
Probably delicious.
It was
Yeah.
so good. And when I got home, I had taken like a Puerto Rican shower before I left.
Love.
Right? Like I was just like, quick, let's
Great.
go to dinner. It's fine. And once we walked into the door, I said, I'm going to take a shower. And my mom said, no, you can't take a shower. You just had a really big meal. And I was like, I don't understand.
It's not like swimming.
Yeah. I said, I don't understand. She's like, no. She goes, Jossie, if you take a shower right now after this big meal, you can die. And I said, Mom.
That's very dramatic.
I mean, yeah. It's so dramatic.
Wanda.
So
We love you, Wanda.
I had like, we love you so much. I Googled it and like, she wasn't wrong. It said something like, when you take a hot shower after having a big meal, that hot water kind of starts to pull the food out of your digestive tract, and it could make for a harder digestion.
Got it.
Right? So I had posted that online, and Justin had sent me a message and was like, the more you know, with like, you know, remember like the more you know with the rainbow?
Yeah.
Right? So that was the second message he had sent to me. The 2 days prior to that, or maybe 3 days prior to that, he sent me a message. Do you remember we went to brunch?
Yeah, for your birthday.
I was wearing that cute top that I got from Urban Outfitters
So cute.
and my black skinny jeans, and he had sent me a message and said, your smile makes me so, I get so happy when I see your smile on my feed. or something
Oh,
along
that was
those
nice.
lines. And so when he said that, I saw the message. I didn't respond right away, but something in me was like, respond to this man.
That is so funny because I feel like there's a stigma
Mm-hmm.
around Facebook Messenger, like Facebook messaging and like
Okay.
receiving Facebook DMs. That's a little bit like,
It's a scam.
yeah,
Yeah.
like a little bit.
Yeah, yeah,
Whereas
yeah.
I don't know, and it's maybe just because I don't use Facebook as much.
Mm-hmm. You're like, why is this person?
So it's so funny, and it's on it. Like, I mean, yeah, you got that feeling.
Yeah.
And you were like,
I
hi,
literally, I got it.
need to respond.
And, yeah. And then it was the next morning at, I don't know, 8 a.m. I was getting ready to go to work. And I was like, I need to respond to this person. I can't just leave it on red.
Interesting.
And I was like, wow, Justin, thank you so much for this message. It really made my day. And that is when he said, well, seeing your smile on my feed makes my day. So. And then I left it.
Excuse me.
It was so freaking nice, right? So,
Justin.
but then I left it, and then nothing happened until 2 days later when I posted that story about my mom. And I will say, I have never really shared my stories from Instagram to Facebook. And I only did it that time because my mom only has Facebook, and I wanted my mother to see the story,
yeah.
right? So he had responded to it. And from that day, it was February 15th, 2020. We have not stopped chatting on Facebook Messenger.
LOL.
Our main source of communication is through Facebook.
You guys don't even really text each other.
We do not text each other.
You guys Facebook Messenger each other.
Messenger each other all the time.
That is so funny.
All the time. Like we
we
tried.
Mark Zuckerberg, are you listening?
We tried to move it over to text message, and I will say it really didn't work out so much because like we send photos and videos and stuff like that.
Does
and
he have?
He has an Android.
Oh man, you're a better woman than me.
I'd
be like, oh, it went green. And don't you even try to judge me because I know all you ladies out there are thinking it too.
So iPhone avoidant. He just is not into it.
So okay, now we'll skip ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was February, middle of February.
Mm-hmm.
Pandemic hits March.
Yes.
Mid-March, right?
Mm-hmm.
So your relationship is very new.
Super new.
Super new.
Right.
This is a very obviously strange, hard time to be forming new relationships.
Yeah.
When you're not supposed to be hanging out with anybody or seeing new people. So can you just quick tell us how you guys were able to continue your relationship throughout this?
Yeah. So our first date wasn't until Nina's baby shower.
Right.
With Nathan, right? It was the day before. It was February 28th, and Nina's baby shower was on the 29th, on leap year.
Yep.
On leap day, I should say.
Yep.
And great first date, obviously. And after that, it was like, okay, I'm working. I don't have a car up here yet, right? So we're just trying to navigate when we're gonna see each other, at what time, at what point, because he's a single dad, right? Yep. So he has not one child but two.
Yes, and at this point, so sorry, we should have said that. So Justin, at this point, is a single dad. He's got two beautiful boys,
gorgeous,
Ace and Junie.
Yes.
And how old are they at this time?
Right now, they're 5.5 and 7.
In 2020.
Oh, sorry. In 2020, they are 1.5 years and 3.
So Ace is 3, Junie is 1.5 years.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Keep going. Sorry.
So it was just kind of how are we going to see each other and make this happen? Whatever. At this point, I'm afraid to tell my mom.
Oh God.
About Justin. I am so afraid. So and I'm afraid because one, I just got out of a relationship. Right. And it did not end well.
Right. Yep.
Literally for anyone involved.
Yep.
And I was still kind of reeling and just trying to figure that out and kind of what my emotions are, what I really felt or anything about that. And my mom was there through it all, right?
Yeah.
And at this point, quick backstory, I moved in with my mom, and I hadn't lived with my mom since I was 16.
Right.
So, and I had lived by myself for 10 years. I went to LA, to Boston, to New York City. To go back home was a huge, almost a culture shock almost, right? Yeah. And my mom's a very Christian woman. My mother's a pastor. So it was kind of trying to navigate all of these things while being in a relationship and then now being out of one, and just kind of seeing where my path is going through there, like how I'm going to be an adult. I'm 28 years old. Like, what do I do?
Yep.
So when I finally told my mom that I'm seeing Justin, she gave me like one of the best warnings I think I've ever gotten in my life. She was like, this man knows what he wants. And he wanted his family. He has his family. He has his children. And what he wants is a woman that will step up and be a mother figure to these children when they're with him. And if you can't do that for him, you need to leave him alone.
Wanda just dropping knowledge.
She said, leave that man alone. She's like, Jocelyn, I know you. And you, and everybody at that point knew me, right? They were like, yeah, I'm this like free spirit. I leave at the drop of a dime. I used to travel with my freaking passport in my purse.
Yeah.
And she said, if you are not ready, leave that man alone.
Because he's got these kids?
And I said, Mom, whose side are you?
Yeah. Mom, I'm your daughter.
I was like, whose side are you on?
She is like, just dropping truth bombs.
And she was like, no. Wanda. She's like, I'm going to tell you that man knows what he wants. And if you're not it, babe, don't waste his time. And when are we ever, that's, excuse me. I'm always telling people not to waste my time.
No.
And here is my mother telling me, don't waste this man's time. And I was like, no, but like, I really like him.
Yeah.
And my mom was like, think about it, pray on it. Like, you need to know, you need to do right by him.
Yeah.
So if it's not something you're ready for, please don't leave this don't leave this man on.
Yeah.
I said, okay. And like literally that night I was like sitting in my room and I was like, no, I want to pursue this.
Yeah.
I want to pursue this.
I like him.
And you're not going to tell me no. So here I am.
Yeah.
And literally here we are 4 years later.
So things had to obviously progress a bit faster because it's COVID.
Right.
And you guys decided to spend time together.
Sure.
And it was like, if you decided to spend time together, like, that was that, then you're together. And like, that's that. So how did that go?
So it was, I would say it was so different for us because of the fields of work that we were in.
Yeah.
Right.
And this unconventional time.
100%. Yeah. So like, obviously nobody knows what's going on, whatever, what have you. But, Justin's a landscaper.
Okay.
He works by himself outside.
Yep.
So like, he had the best business year of his life during COVID, right?
Yeah.
People are working from home.
Yep.
They're looking outside in their backyard.
Yep.
They're like,
they want to be in a nice space.
Exactly. So they're like, let's make it as nice as possible. Since I'm sitting here from home, I want to be here and I want to work. So he was fine. COVID did not affect him work-wise, professionally at all, right? I, at the time, worked at a dermatologist's office. So I work in the medical field.
Yep.
I also did not close.
Yep.
I just had to wear a mask and that was it. Yep. My hours didn't change. My day-to-day didn't change except the fact that I was wearing a mask. So nothing changed at all until my mother and my stepfather got COVID.
Got it. And they got it early on. They got it in March.
Very early. And they got it at the end of March, early April. So my brother's birthday is April 6th. And at this point, I had already met the boys. I already met Ace and Junie. And
can you quickly take us to that point of meeting them and deciding to meet them and how that went down?
That happened so fast because Justin had them so much.
Got it.
And he was like, hey, like, we're dating. I want to see you. I want to spend time with you. And like, I only don't have my sons on like these couple of days of the week.
Right.
And
like,
it just
the weekends for the most part.
Right. And it just like didn't like, it was a lot. So it was.
Because of COVID, to play devil's advocate, some people would be like, wow, that was like, that's fast to like meet your kids. But it's like, we have to remember the time that we were in.
Right. So it was like, hey, the boys are here and I want you to meet them. So obviously, like, he had an agreement with their mom, like, I'm going to text you and let you know whenever, like, I really like somebody and I'm going to introduce them to the boys, whatever. So he did that. And then as soon as she was like, okay, like, sounds good.
Yep.
I met them quite literally the next morning.
That's great.
So then I met them the next morning and Ace and I, besties right away. Junie, not so much.
Not so much. Junie takes a little bit to
Junie
warm
takes a
up.
little bit, and at that point, he was a baby.
He plays hard to get.
He was a year and a half.
I know, he's a little
baby.
yeah.
But at that point, it was still like I was going to work, going home to my mom's, and then, you know, whatever I would see them, what have you. And then early April, it was my brother's birthday. My brother's birthday is April 6th. We were all on Zoom.
Yep.
Singing happy birthday to my to my brother, because, you know, that's what we did at those times. And my mom called me right after that call and was like, hey, you know, Raul and I are experiencing symptoms. So I don't think you should
Raul,
my mom's husband.
your mom's husband.
So I said, what do you mean? What do you mean?
Yeah, I'm confused.
What do you mean symptoms? And she was like, well, Raul's not feeling super well, and I have a little bit of a cough, so, like, don't come here. And I was like, what do you mean don't come here? I live here. I was like, what do you mean don't come here? I live here, Mom. Like, what do you mean? And she was like, well, because I know that you see Justin and I know you see those kids. So, like, I don't. Like, and at that point, we have no idea what's going on.
I know, it's still so early on.
It's so early. She's like, I don't want to get those boys sick. I don't want to be the reason that that's happening. Just don't. So I get off of that call and I look at Justin and I was like, my mom and my stepdad are not feeling well, and she told me literally not to go back there. And
where do I go?
Like, okay. So he was like, so you're gonna stay here? And I was just like, sir, like, we've been together like 4 weeks.
4 weeks. What do you mean stay
like,
here?
What do you mean stay here? He's like, don't worry, like, I'll, you know, empty a side of my closet, because he had like one of those his and her closets that he had for him. Yeah. He's like, I'll empty a side of my closet and that's yours. We'll go this weekend and go get your stuff at your mom's and bring it over here. And I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, it's like, what? What do you mean? We're talking closet space?
I was like, I wanted a toothbrush. Now we got a whole closet?
We go from I usually am like, what about a drawer?
Just like
a closet.
Literally a toothbrush would have been nice. And we quite literally just went to closet. And at that point, it was like quarantine for 2 weeks.
Yeah. How'd you feel about that?
I had spent every weekend there at that point for the last 4 weeks, that it like didn't feel like such a big deal.
Yep.
In hindsight, I know it sounds crazy.
No.
But like in the moment, I was like, I mean, I'm in it.
Yeah.
In my brain, I was like, I'm in it. So like whatever. At this point, I had already said I love you to him.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm here. Yeah. So like, Mom told me to step up.
So I'm stepping up.
Here I am, and it didn't take much. It wasn't like I was forcing myself to be this girlfriend.
Right.
It happened so wildly naturally. Yeah. And I love kids.
Yeah.
Like, I've always loved kids. Like, you know, my relationship with my nieces and my nephews, like, I've always loved them. The patience has always been there for children. Yeah. I teach children. Like, that's just what it is. And it was just so, I was like, okay. In my head, I was like, this looks crazy. Optics wise.
Yeah.
I'm like, this looks freaking insane.
Yeah.
This is.
Even we as your friends were like, wow, this is.
I haven't even met him. You guys haven't even met him.
I was like, we haven't even met him yet. And you're like moved in and stuff. But it's also like, you do have to remember.
It was COVID. It was crazy
and it was crazy times. It's like unconventional. Everything was unconventional.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where it's like, you trust your friend. It's like, when they say like, nope, I know what I'm doing. This is it. It's like, okay, I trust you.
Yeah.
And I love you. And I'm here for you. And you can stay with me if you need to, or you know what I mean? But you just like, you're like, okay.
It was like, and it was so crazy too, because obviously
like you know what's in your heart.
100%.
Yeah.
So there was no, like, I didn't have any things to fight myself over in my brain.
Yeah.
Like, it was all very easy. Yep. And I was just like, these decisions that I'm making are so easy. Because this is what I want to do.
Right.
They're making it easy for me. like the boys and him. Like
Yep.
they made it so easy for me to want
Right.
to be
Right.
part of this family.
Yep.
At no point was I
Come
like
into their home and be in their home and be with them.
100%. Even Clutch. When I had
Clutchy.
qualms about this dog, and mind you, he was on his way out, RIP, but I was like,
R.I.P. Clutch, we love you.
we love you so much. But I was like, you know, like, okay, like this is fine. I can do this. Like I want to do this.
Yeah.
And I felt like at that time I owed it to myself to be happy.
Right.
And do the things even if everybody around me was like, what are you doing?
Right.
Like he has kids.
Because here's the other thing,
too. Are you
too.
insane?
Agreed. And it's one of those things where it's like, it doesn't have to make sense to everybody else.
Right.
It just has to make sense to you guys.
Also, because nobody else is living this life.
Right.
We are.
And also, like, we have to think, like, him as a father, he is the father of these boys.
Yeah.
He had to have thought long and hard about the woman that he is bringing into his home,
even to
around his children. Like, he had to have thought long and hard about that
100%.
and made a decision on you too, of like, no, this woman, like, I love this woman, I trust this woman, like, I know that, like, she will be good to my children and good around my children, otherwise I would have never introduced you.
No, and I knew, and obviously the introduction was quick. It was like our second or third date. I ended up meeting the boys, I think our second date, and it was like it was so, for him to have the confidence in me,
right,
to know that I was a good person, for him to even send that text message to the boy's mom to be like, hey, I'm feeling really good about this girl and I want the boys to meet her.
Yeah.
Is like, in and of itself, a huge freaking deal. Like, you don't just like, I mean, obviously, like, we know firsthand, like, those introductions don't even happen until like 6 months in.
Yeah.
And we're 2 dates in.
Yeah.
We're like maybe like a couple weeks into this relationship, right? For that to happen. And in June, end of June, my mom called me and she was like, hey, I finally tested negative. Like, are we going to do something for Father's Day? Like, you know, like, I want to meet.
She's like, I'm ready to get out.
I'm ready to meet Justin.
Yeah.
She hasn't met Justin at this point, only over like FaceTime, not in real life. And I was like, okay. And I remember looking at Justin and be like, hey, mom just said that like she tested negative for COVID. And he looks at me and goes, I hope you don't think you're moving back.
He's like, you're here now.
And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, well, we can now go and get your stuff, but like, you're staying.
You're here now.
And at that point, like, of course I am. That's so silly to move back out at this point. Like, we've been doing this now for months.
Yeah.
Like, let me go safely get my things.
Yeah. Like, just let me go get the rest of my things.
And I was like, oh, hey, mom, this is my boyfriend, and I've been living with him for the last couple months, and now I'm going to stay living with him. I'm not moving back in here.
Him and his boys.
So it was, it happened so fast, and it was just so insane because my mom was just like, okay. And I was like, Here we are, yeah.
So, okay, I want to skip ahead.
Mm-hmm.
You guys get engaged.
Mm-hmm.
What was it? A year
and a half.
A year and a half later.
Yeah, we started dating. So our dating anniversary is March 17th.
Yep.
Which is
St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick's Day. And we got engaged July 31st.
Yes.
The following year.
And then you guys got married October 2021.
Yes, October 7th. Yep.
So, okay. So, you guys are married now. You've been living with these boys for a year and a half.
Yeah.
Almost 2 years. Now you are officially a stepmom or a bonus mom, as we love to say.
Yeah.
Can you kind of take me through what that journey has been for you as far as being a stepmom, a bonus mom, stepping into a situation, a family that has already been established?
Sure.
You know, with Justin and the boys, and then also now the dynamic of, you know, the boy's mother is still in their life.
Yeah.
And kind of how that has been with parenting and stepping in, because I mean, you're definitely not the first mom to step in, or bonus mom, stepmom, How has that been for you, and what does that journey look like, and what are the boundaries? What are some obstacles that you've had to
There,
overcome?
oh gosh, okay. I mean, I can talk on this for hours. It's in the beginning, it was obvious it's my first time.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey guys, I'm a first timer here. Like, what's going on? I'm not new to children. I'm
Hmm.
not new to infants. I'm not new to babies. I'm not new to that dynamic of seeing a mother or a father with a child. Like I have, I don't know, like 8 nieces and nephews, right?
Right.
Like I'm a one of six. Like there's
Yeah.
so many people in my life, right? And when I met Justin, the boys were so young, right? So
Right.
Junior was a year and a half, Ace was 3. Their schedule was pretty 50-50.
Hmm.
And this was obviously before COVID. After COVID, it was definitely more 50-50. Where like they went to their mother's during the day and we had them every single night,
Hmm.
and they stayed at her house, I think 1 or 2 nights a week.
Yep.
So at that point, like every night that I was with them, like I
Right.
was with those children, I was with
Yep.
the 2 boys. And like I said, from the beginning, me and Ace were tight
Yep. Yep.
besties. Junie took a little bit more time.
Hmm.
And like I said, he was a baby.
Right.
He is still such a daddy's boy, right?
Yeah.
Like, so he saw me as this like total interloper. Like,
Yeah.
who the hell are you?
Right.
Why are you trying to console me? I want my dad.
Yeah.
And I got that. So that was a little bit of a struggle with me and Junie for like probably the first 8 months.
Yep.
And then after that, it was totally fine. But it was immediate. There wasn't a like time it's never been like Justin's not a weekend dad.
Right.
Never has been a weekend dad.
Right.
So it's never been like, oh, like I just see my stepkids on the weekend and we're like
Right.
the fun parents and whatever. Like, no, the boys are with us Sunday through Friday, right?
Right.
So it has always been a very um my
Consistent.
is very consistent, and my maternal instincts were on from day one,
Okay.
because I'm like, hey, I have to be here.
Right.
I'm not going to, and there's a lot of conflicting information, I should say, on the blogs online of how you should be as a step parent
Okay.
and how you should let the biological parent do all the work, and you're just supposed to be there to support the parent and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm supporting him because I'm supporting these children.
Right.
At the end of the day, I don't consider myself as a step parent, as a even a bonus parent. I'm a co-parent.
Yeah.
I see these children as much as they see their biological mother, and
Right.
we are all. They got really lucky. They have 3 of us.
Right. Right.
Do
Right.
you know
Right.
what I
Right.
mean? So like we have all been on the same page where I treat them as
Yeah.
if they were my own children.
You've got the three of you have learned to parent together,
100%.
which is very nice and very lucky.
It's very nice, and they
Yeah.
are very lucky because I've seen
Yeah.
videos, I've read blogs,
Oh God, you
I've
hear the
heard
horror
things, I've
stories.
heard the horror
That
stories.
sucks. Yeah.
And we have been so blessed that we all parent in the same kind of way.
Yep.
That there's never been any butting
Yep.
heads or like don't do this or don't do that, or
I don't agree. Disagreements on certain
right
parenting.
where I will say in the beginning of all of that, I was obviously I'm scared as hell.
Absolutely.
I'm nervous as hell because I'm like, I don't want to step on any toes.
Yeah.
I didn't birth these children.
You want to be very aware of your boundaries.
100% aware
Yeah.
of my boundaries. I don't want to make this harder than it already is. I can't imagine at that point. I couldn't imagine that a co-parenting situation is easy. Right? Now being in it, I know it's not easy.
Yeah.
And at that time I was very much an outsider. And I was like, this can't be easy, right? Like rules in one house, rules in the other house, and they're so young.
Yeah.
Babies.
Yeah.
And now here I come. Like, hey guys.
Yeah.
I love
Stepping
you guys so
in.
much.
Yeah.
What's up? So it was very hard in the sense where I'm like, what can I or can I not do? Only because I have that I will say there's this strong maternal instinct in me that makes me in my head think I'm the mom,
Okay.
right? And I had to like, I'm not the mother here.
Okay.
And I had to like remind myself, like, babes, this is not your job.
Yeah.
Tell Justin,
Yeah.
let him relay that to her,
Yeah.
and y'all can figure it out.
Yeah.
I'm not the mother here.
That must be
And
so hard.
it was so hard. I used to cry
Yeah.
and cry. Even potty training Ace was the most traumatic experience
Because you,
of my
you
life.
you care about these boys.
Of course, and I want
like you
them
did birth them.
right, and I want them to
Yeah.
feel like I'm never going to treat them differently from when I do have my own biological
Right.
children. They are my children.
Yeah.
These are the first kids that I've ever chosen to be mine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they are it for me. And but I had to still keep in mind that like their mother is still very much in the
Yeah.
picture, and their father is too, obviously. So I was very much just like, hey babe, I would always express my concerns to him so he can express to her
Yep.
if we were on the same page.
Yep.
We were not always on the same page, to be fair.
Yeah.
We were not always on the same page. But I'd have to like be like, hey, please see where I'm coming from about X, Y, and Z, and can we talk to her about it? Because at the end of the day, I'm not her baby daddy.
Yeah.
That's her baby daddy.
Yeah.
And the conversations about these boys have to go between the two of them, not me.
Yeah.
I'm just like here to be like, hey guys, I'm also seeing X, Y, and Z. What can we all do together? Right? And thankfully she's been so great about it. You know what I mean? I obviously in the beginning it's tough. Like there's this new girl in these kids' lives and she probably doesn't want to know anything about me. But I am the way I am, I'm like, I will let you know about me.
Yeah.
Here, no, we're gonna have a conversation because we're all gonna have to do this together.
Absolutely.
And I want us to have this good relationship. But we ended up just trying to figure out where my place is.
So now, wondering, because you are spending so much time with these boys during the week, during like at all times, and how was that difficult for you navigating those boundaries of, okay, I love these boys, I love their father, I'm with them all the time, I feel a maternal instinct towards them, but as far as like disciplining and like quote unquote mothering or whatever, what like where was that line? Was that difficult to navigate?
God,
was it difficult to like, because I'm sure there's a lot of women out there. So what was that like? Like what were some of like the challenges at that point?
It is still really hard, only because I obviously treat them as if they're my own children, right?
Yeah.
And I still reprimand them as if they're my own children. And I have to constantly remember that like Ace, especially, not Junie so much, but Ace, like he's gonna talk about this.
Yeah.
And in the beginning I'm like, oh my God, he's gonna tell on me.
He's gonna tell the grown-ups.
He's gonna tell on me, and it's not even like he's gonna tell Justin, because Justin has given me like full reign, like yo, like do what you need to do, like like whip his ass into shape, whatever. But like at in the beginning, like I hadn't even met their mother yet. You know what I mean? So and it ended up like obviously coming out like a year later, finally, like when her and I met, that like she trusts Justin and she trusts his judgment, and she was like, listen, like if he's gonna bring somebody around my kids, like I'm gonna know it's somebody that's worth being around my kids, and I trust that, and I will trust him. But it didn't, it obviously didn't change my mentality that like if I yelled at Ace, because it's Ace, obviously, like you guys will understand that Junie is kind of nonverbal, but Ace will tell her what I've done, or tell her what Daddy's and tell her about his week. And I never wanted him to go back to his mother's house and be like, oh, Jossie yelled at me, or Jossie did this and that and the third, whatever.
Jossie punished me.
Yeah. Or like, Jossie's mad at me, like anything.
And she's like, why are you punishing my kid?
Right. Like that's not your place. And
even if it was justified.
Right. And it very quickly when her and I finally had a conversation, and, you know, like, her and I are very great now.
Right.
Like, I see her weekly and she's awesome, and I will always love her because she made these kids.
Absolutely.
And we will always have a relationship, and she's great. But in the beginning, it was tough because I didn't want her to think that I was overstepping. I didn't want her to think that I was
You're trying to take
stepping
her
on any toes.
place.
I was not trying, and I'm not.
No.
And I'm not. I will never try to take her
No.
place. It's just when they're at home, they got me.
Yeah.
So
And they
we're
got
gonna
these
figure
rules.
that out. And
They got Jocelyn's rule and they got Justin's rules.
Exactly. And we're going to figure that out, and we're going to
Yep.
move forward from there. And so once her and I finally established the relationship, it was pretty easy after that, because then I had now two people to talk about these boys with.
Yeah.
And that made life so much easier. And that is why we've gotten so far as we've gotten, because there's three of us now.
Yep.
And three brains are always better than one. There's better than two. Like, that's never the issue. We all pretty much fall in line when it comes to doing what's best for the boys.
Yep.
And I've never had an issue with that. And in the beginning, like I said, I was always scared about stepping toes. And as I got deeper in this relationship and deeper in relationship with those boys, I stopped caring. In a sense where I was like, I don't care about stepping on toes, because we need to do what's best for these boys.
Right.
So
there's no toes when it's what's best for the boys.
Put your emotions to the side for a second.
Yeah.
Put your pride, put your whatever it is that you're feeling to the side, and let's talk about these children as it is, as these kids, and what's best for them. And I always brought that, because, as you know, my detachment style is A1. And I can detach my emotions from situations so that I can see clearly for what it is and what we need to do as humans for our mini humans.
Right.
And that's it.
Because the boys can't.
They can't
speak for themselves.
We are quite literally their voice.
Yes.
We are their advocates.
So. And as someone who was there with them 24/7, it was pretty much
wildly obvious.
Yeah, you know what they need, what they want, what things like that. And even though you were the quote unquote stepmom, the bonus mom, you know what these boys need and what's best for them. So like you will advocate for them.
Yeah, and I always think about that too. Like when I see other stepmoms or bonus moms, or I see things online sometimes that are like, oh, when you're a stepmom, you just need to be there for the person that you married, like your spouse, and like that's it. Like, don't step on like the other person's toes and overstep what you need to be doing as a role of their stepmom. And I'm like, could you be that bitter to not want somebody else to love your kid as much as you love them?
It's a great way to look at it.
On what planet?
Can you imagine finding someone else to love your child?
And you're like, no.
Yeah.
You cannot love them more than me. Or you cannot love them as much as me.
And want to give your child everything in the world. And every good, beautiful thing in this world.
And because your pride and your whatever gets in the way, that you don't allow that to happen.
You don't want someone,
And I'm like,
that's wild.
And that is so wild to me. So I'm so thankful that that's not the situation that I'm in.
Because we know that the boy's mother is very thankful to have you.
And she has told me herself how like thankful she is to like have me. But I couldn't imagine being in a situation where I'm just like, oh, sorry, I can't love them as hard because like their mother feels a certain type of way.
Right.
That would be so insane to me.
Yeah.
And then I'd be like, I'm all right. I'm still going to love them. And even like now to this day, like obviously like we mother differently. We are different humans. But that doesn't change the way that we love these boys or how they're feeling loved. You know what I mean? Like they are not lacking.
Right. They're not lacking in love.
They are not lacking at all. They have so much love.
And I'm not a parent, but I can't imagine wanting anything but your child being over loved.
You hear about evil stepmothers all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, can we like celebrate the ones that are not that?
Yeah, are great.
Are not that? Because like I don't I don't hold that kind of resentment. Their mother doesn't hold that kind of resentment towards me. Like, why would we? Like, we
Yeah.
are just so happy that these boys have a really freaking good life. Let me tell
Yeah.
you. These boys have a great life. So, like, can we celebrate
Yeah.
that? And I feel like outside looking in, between how quickly my relationship progressed with Justin, how very present and just like how I am in the boys' lives, that people can take that in a negative way.
Right.
And her and I have had this conversation where it's just like, they're not in our day to day lives. Outsiders they're not in our lives.
Right.
These outsiders are not in these boys' school lives and their home lives and their friend lives. Like, this is what works for us.
Right.
So, like, why do you think that
This
you
is
have
your
anything to say at all?
and yeah.
This
And it works for your family and everyone's happy and safe.
and so
Keep your comments to
wildly
yourself.
loved. Keep your comments to yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're mad that your children are wildly loved?
Yeah.
I'm confused.
I'm confused.
Oh, you're mad about that?
Tell me why you're mad.
Keep your
about
comments
that.
to yourself.
Tell me why you're mad about
Yeah.
that. And that comes from a place of like obvious insecurity, and
Right.
that doesn't exist for us because I am secure in my role in their life.
Right.
Justin's secure in his role in their life as their father. She's secure in her role in their life as their mother.
Yeah.
So that like it doesn't there's nothing else like to be said.
Yeah.
Like, I was quite literally spearheaded into this role as their stepmother, and I went into it with open arms. I was
Yeah.
so excited, and obviously it has its ups and its downs. Parenthood has its ups and downs.
Right.
And that's how I look at it. It's harder when there's like two other people that I have to like talk to about it.
Mhm.
That is never easy, right? And especially when one isn't in the house, right?
Lots of
like,
cooks in the kitchen.
lots of cooks in the kitchen. And but it is still that is still just like our life. Like,
Yeah.
that is just what it is.
Yeah.
And that is
It's
something
your
that
family.
100%, and that's something I had to
You
get used
adapt.
to. Something Justin had to get used to. That's something that she had to get used to. And it's just like, it is what it is. And I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
guys, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. So we're gonna figure it we're gonna figure it out.
So I would love to transition now. I feel like we have a good understanding of like you entering into this bonus mom, stepmom role.
Yeah.
Now you and Justin,
Mm-hmm.
I know, have decided that you want to expand your family.
Right.
And grow your family.
Yeah.
What was that decision like
Okay.
when you decided or when you wanted to grow your family?
Mm-hmm. So, God, that's a loaded question. Okay. So when Justin and I first started talking, my first question to him was, after I found out he had 2 kids, do you want more?
Yeah.
That was my first question, because I know I want kids. I know I want to be a mother. And if you're done, then like we're not going to move
Right.
forward in this relationship. Like, if you were 2 kids and
Right.
you're done, then that's great. I'm so glad,
Yeah.
but I want to have my own children and I
Right.
want to have my own family. So I need to know this up front. And that was quite literally one of the first questions I asked him.
Yeah.
Hey, I see that you have 2 kids. Do you want more? And he said, yeah, I do want, I do want more kids. Like, if it's right. Obviously, like, this is the first conversation we're
Yeah.
having. He's like, ma'am, I don't want more kids with you. I don't
Yeah,
even know
I don't
you.
even know you. What's
I
your
don't
name?
even know you.
Yeah.
So I said, okay. I was like, I want kids. I've always dreamt of a big family. I
Yeah.
come from a big family, right? So I do want more kids. So as long as that is okay with you, cool. Let's
Yeah.
get to know each other, right? So as soon as I stepped into this role of being their stepmom, I knew I wanted my own kids.
Yeah.
I knew I wanted to birth a child. I knew I wanted a child with him.
Yeah.
Because, they always say that. They say, like, you never really know, like, how your partner is going to be as a father.
Yeah.
And I knew.
Now you know.
And now I knew. I went
He's a great
into this
father. Yeah.
partnership with him being a father, and he is a fantastic father.
Yeah.
He is the best dad.
Yeah.
He said to me today, I have the best dad ever. And I'm like, you
Yeah, you
freaking
do.
You better freaking recognize and
Yeah.
remember that. Like, your dad is the best, okay?
Yeah.
So I had no, it wasn't me thinking, like, I wonder how he is as a dad.
Yeah.
I know how he is as a new dad
Right.
because I met Junie at a year and a half.
Yeah.
Junie was in diapers. He had a
Right,
bowl
right,
on his
right,
mouth.
right.
He was sleeping in a crib still.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, he was a baby.
Baby.
Ace was still in diapers when I met him too, and I was
Yeah.
like, he can't be anymore. He's 3.
Yeah,
Let's get him out of this now.
nix that.
Okay?
Yeah.
Like, I'm done. So, I didn't have that in my brain, like how he's gonna be as a dad. I was like, wow, I just want to make more babies with this man.
Yeah.
Because he's amazing and he's an amazing partner. He's an amazing father.
Yeah.
But I knew in my heart since forever that whenever I had kids, I wanted to be married first.
Okay.
So, very traditional of me. When he proposed, I was like, wow, this was the easiest yes. And then I was like, well, I want a big wedding. And he was like, well, I don't want a big wedding.
Right.
Because Justin and I personalities are on opposite sides of the spectrum. So we ended up compromising. And I was like, let's like just do something really small.
Yeah.
And let's get married before the end of the year. Let's pick a date on the calendar. And let's just find a date that we like.
Yeah.
And let's just like elope that day. And it was a random Thursday. October
it was so fun.
7th, 2021. And that day, we were like, okay, like we can still have a big wedding, maybe like in June or something.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I don't think I want that. I think this is good. I don't think I want to do anything. Maybe we'll do like a vow renewal or something. Yeah. I said, but I don't want to wait and I want to try and let's start trying for a baby. So at this point, we want to start trying. So from November to November of 2022, the following year, I did not get pregnant. I don't understand. And it was just like month after month, I just was not getting a positive pregnancy test. So then finally in December of 2022, I got my first positive pregnancy test. And I found out the weekend of our Christmas show at the conservatory.
Yep.
And I was so excited. I just remember being like shocked. Yeah. Like I wasn't feeling great that weekend and I was like, you know what? It's probably like I'm around a bunch of children and everybody's sick. It's the holidays.
Yep.
It's just probably me not feeling well and I'm about to get sick. And I was like, no, like I just like feel like something's up. And I took a pregnancy test and I left it on the counter. I went, I did my business. I was like getting dressed and I came back and I saw that it was pregnant and I freaked out, right? Yeah. I was so excited. Called my doctor, the whole thing, and everything was looking great. And then I went in for it was like a 9-week scan. So the doctor that I see is a full, just a gyno. He's not an OB, right? So he was like, I can see you up until you're 10 weeks. And then as soon as you're 10 weeks, you have to go see an OB. Like, I can't care for you further than this. But because they knew I was trying and stuff like that, like he just kept monitoring me. And I went in for my 9-week scan and they do the scan right in the office and she does the thing. I'm feeling nervous because I stopped feeling symptoms like a day or two before. Okay. And like I was like, oh, my boobs aren't sore anymore. So like I feel like that's good. I'm not feeling like as crampy as I was. Yep. And I'm saying this to the ultrasound tech and they are so good. I don't know how they do this job. Yeah. Ultrasound techs across the board, whatever field you're in, because they are trained to like keep this like
the straight face.
Like nothing on their face will tell you anything. There's no tell of good, no tell of bad. It's just like blank. And they're just there to take pictures and print it out. And then your doctor will explain them to you. Right. So I'm like telling her, like, oh, like my boobs don't feel as like sore anymore. So like I feel like that's good. Whatever, like I'm getting over this hump. That's what I thought anyway.
Yeah.
And then my nurse practitioner comes in, Liz, and she's like, there's no heartbeat.
Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed part 1 of this 2-part Mother's Day episode. Tune in next Tuesday as Jocelyn continues to tell us her story about her struggles with fertility. I also want to shout out all you mothers, stepmothers, bonus moms, mother figures, and more. You are truly superheroes. We'll see you all next week. Stay pretty.